Kachativu issue, where during the earlier Congress government, Indira Gandhi ji had ceded it to Sri Lanka illegally, without any laws being enacted by this House. At the time, DMK was part of the government. Both of them kept silent at that time. Madam, I would like to request the honorable government, Madam, today, last week, 40 fishermen have been arrested from Tamil Nadu by the Sri Lankan government, 40 fishermen. This year, 569 fishermen have been arrested this entire year. Thousands have been arrested in the last 3-4 years.
Honorable Member, Dr. Anbumani Ramadas, you have 7 minutes.
Thank you, Madam. I rise to salute our Constitution and would like to thank our founding fathers, Dr. Ambedkar, and all the members of the Constituent Assembly for giving us this wonderful Constitution. Madam, India is on its path to being a developed country. Our Prime Minister now and then, time and again, says that by 2047, India will be a developed country. For that to happen, we need a holistic growth of our country. When we say growth, growth is different, development is different. Growth is talked in terms of fiscal growth, economic growth, GDP, wealth distribution, and so on. But development is of the masses, the downtrodden, the weaker section, the laborers, the farmers, the toilers, the scheduled castes, the scheduled tribes, the OBCs. They have to develop, they have to grow, they have to progress. Then only we could achieve our target of a developed country. Article 15(4) talks about the government rolling out affirmative action for the socially and educationally weaker section. But there have been so many impediments and hurdles for the government to affirm the same. Madam, due to lack of time, I would like to bring 3 core issues to the notice of the government affecting the weaker section. 1, the 50% cap on reservation. 2, the creamy layer. And 3, the caste census. There are many other issues, but since lack of time, I just want to talk about this. Madam, why do we have a 50% cap on reservation? Is it because of a law we brought in this parliament? No. This was done by the Supreme Court way back in 1962-63 in the Balaji versus the state of Mysore case, and then again reiterated in 1993 in the Indira Sawhney case. We had nothing to do with this. The parliament had nothing to do with this. And the Supreme Court, the same Supreme Court, had turned the other way when the EWS quota was brought in by this House, which went over the 50% cap. Madam, time and again, the OBCs have been the most affected, have been discriminated repeatedly. Madam, today, the scheduled caste population in this country is approximately 15%, and they have been given 15% reservation in the center. The scheduled tribe population is about 7.5%. They have been given 7.5% reservation, rightly so. The OBC population in this country, according to me, is about 63%. According to Mandal, is about 52%. Why are they given only 27% reservation? Why the discrimination only for OBCs? Time and again. And to add to that, you have a concept called a creamy layer. I'll just come to that. Madam, today, the OBC representation at the central government is a meager about 18%. Some statistics say 21%. But even that 18% is that a lot of OBCs get into open competition. They are also counted into the 18%. But when you take the Group A, it is very, very meager. Coming to the second point of creamy layer, why do we have a creamy layer? Is it in our constitution? It is unconstitutional. And again, the OBCs are affected. There is no creamy layer for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, rightly so. Why only for OBCs? I would like to urge the government to bring a change for that. Like, at least the seats should give it for the creamy layer OBCs, and the rest of the seats in the OBCs should be filled by the non-creamy layer OBCs instead of the seats going to the open competition. Madam, the third point which I like to bring is the caste census. Today, the government of India as well as the states are rolling out affirmative action by an old data, 95-year-old caste data, brought in by the British period during 1931. Why don't we have a modern data? We need to have a modern, contemporary, pertinent data to have more affirmative action and to know the social stature of all the downtrodden section of our country. Why do we hesitate for that? 78 years post-independence, so many governments have come, none of them had taken a caste data. But all our reservations are based on caste. Why can't we do that? I would not like to blame this side or that side, but let us at least set right the issue. Madam, all we need is to add just a column called OBC in the decennial census. Every 10 years we do a population census. There is a column for SCs, there is a column for STs, there is a column for minorities. Just we add the column for OBCs. Why are we hesitating to bring in a column for OBCs and to know the actual stature, not only the population but actual social status of the OBCs as well? Definitely, and also we need to have an amendment to the 1948 Census Act. At the time there was no OBCs, there were only SC and STs. So we need to do that. Madam, another issue is like the Honorable Prime Minister appointed the Rohini Commission. That commission had brought out its recommendation and we found some glaring problems, glaring issues within the OBCs. Madam, today there are 2,633 communities in the OBCs. Madam, just 1 minute. Out of which 10 communities take away nearly 24.9% of the jobs and employment and education. 38 communities take away 25.9% of the jobs. 102 communities take away 24.6% of the jobs and education. 506 communities take away 22.3% of jobs and education. So you put together 656 communities take away 97.5% of all the jobs and education. The Leader of the House, Madam, earlier said about Kachativu issue, where during the earlier Congress government, Indira Gandhi ji had ceded it to Sri Lanka illegally, without any laws being enacted by this House. At the time, DMK was part of the government. Both of them kept silent at that time. Madam, I would like to request the Honorable Government, Madam, today, last week, 40 fishermen have been arrested from Tamil Nadu by the Sri Lankan government, 40 fishermen. This year, 569 fishermen have been arrested this entire year. Thousands have been arrested in the last 3-4 years. 190 boats have been impounded by the Sri Lankan government, 190 boats. We need to have a resolution. We need to have a resolution for this, Madam. And the fishermen, every day, their livelihood is at stake. And this is not just a Tamil Nadu problem, this is an Indian problem. I urge the government again to make issues, to take measures to bring back Kachativu back to India, because that is the core problem affecting us, and to give safety and priority to the fishermen of our country. With these words, Madam, I'd like to thank you for giving me time. Jai Hind.